We're back. Look, it's Lucy. She just meowed. Did you hear her? She just meowed. Because we're back. It's been a minute. We missed Music Monday yesterday because I was traveling back from Tempe, Arizona, which, by the way, it was lovely to meet some of y'all in Tempe. And I hope everybody is having a happy Tuesday. I know, Lucy. It's hard. Hi, Anna. How are you? Hi, Susan. Good to see ya. What's up, Marcus? You got the notification. Anna, that's awesome. Generally, we are live every Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. What's up, Chris? What's up, Jinxana? What's up, Ozito? Good to see everybody. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Good to be back. Missed the stream on Monday. What's up, Larry? You guys know the drill. Once we get to 30, the show will officially begin. Let's see. RC, did you hear that AOC is backing Trump's Venezuela coup? I did not hear that, no. Send me some stuff on it. What's up, Farhead? Howdy, howdy. What's up, Chris? Chris, how did it go? Before the show happens, now we got to know, how did the proposal go? For those not in the know, Chris mentioned in the chat that he was going to be proposing to his girlfriend. I got to meet both of them at my show in Indianapolis. I got to meet Chris and his girlfriend, and she said yes. Chris just piped in. She said yes. Good job, buddy. Way to go. We knew she would say yes, but it's still always fun to hear it. Congratulations. Are you guys going to get married in Indianapolis? Or are you going to do a destination? Good for you, man. That's exciting stuff. Did you hear about the police raid on the embassy in D.C.? No, I did not. I did not. You're going to keep it cheap? That's the way to go. Lucy's whining. I don't know if you could hear her. I'm petting her right now. She's at my feet. She's not wanting to jump up for whatever reason. She's just kind of chilling. She's like, look, you got to up my contract. I want to get paid more in treats before I show up on camera. Jinxana got married in a pizza parlor. That's awesome. That would be a really cool place to get married. And you know the food's going to be spectacular. There's really only... Bad pizza is rough because there's really no reason why it should happen. You know, pizza should be either good or really freaking good. There should really only be two types of pizza. Good or, wow, this is so good. Bad pizza should not happen. Just shouldn't happen. Guys, we are over 30. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is having a happy Tuesday. Congratulations to Chris, who just got engaged. There's a lot going on this week. We're going to get to some of it today. Not all of it. That's just how it goes. So, here we go. Let's see here. So... You know how I made that joke where I talk about how... Oh, first of all, song of the day, Classics of Love by Common Rider. The band is called Common Rider. The song is Classics of Love. I was in Tempe on Sunday night with the Jimmy Dore Show. That's why we didn't have a show on Monday, because I was driving back from Tempe. It's a long drive. My neck still kind of hurts a little bit. But anyway, so I met a couple there, Dave and I forget Dave's girlfriend's name off the top of my head, and I feel bad for that. But I met the two of them. They noticed my Operation Ivy t-shirt. They complimented my Operation Ivy t-shirt, and they said, hey, we're big fans of Common Rider, which is the band that Jesse, the lead singer of Operation Ivy, had after Operation Ivy. They didn't last very long. Not a lot of people know about that band, but I knew about that band, and I was like, I love that band too. Last Wave Rockers was a fantastic album, And then Dave posted Classics of Love on my Facebook page, which was awesome. That's a great album. That's a great tune. Check out Kamen Rider, Classics of Love. And check out that entire album. But the song of the day, Classics of Love by Kamen Rider. Shout out to Dave from Tempe. It was good meeting you guys. All right. So, you know how I would make that joke where I talk about how Jeff Bezos is, oh, look who's here. There she is. Look up. She's made, you're going to chill right there. She's like just outside of the camera. Look, you can see her tail. That's seriously where you want to sit? Why don't you sit like right near the microphone? No? Why are you sniffing headphones? You know what headphones are. You see, there you are. Look. Somebody had her breakfast today, and now she's just kind of chill and zen. Say hi, Lucy. No? All right. We tried. Lucy gets a little clingy when I go away and I come back. You guys know this, and it's happening again today. I was in Tempe. I was only gone for a night. I was literally gone for one night. I left really early Sunday morning, drove out there, did the show, did the Jimmy Dore show Sunday night. It was a blast. Shout out to everyone that was there. It was awesome to meet a bunch of you guys. And then Graham Elwood and I drove back the next morning, and we hit Los Angeles in the afternoon. And but yeah, Lucy's a little clingy. I was gone for an evening. I'm going to the East Coast next month, so she'll be real clingy when I get back from that, because I'm gonna be gone for a little while. Anyway, all right. So you know how I made that joke about Jeff Bezos? All right, Jeff Bezos, he runs Amazon, which is responsible for 50% of all online commerce. Now he has Whole Foods. So he controls a lot of the food distribution in this country. Also, what else does he control? Washington Post. This guy has a media outlet. This guy has a huge online retailer, an online juggernaut retailer. And now he owns a big food store, a big, a food conglomerate. And I always said, man, the only thing he has left to get into is water. Once he gets into water, he is going to go full circle in becoming emperor of the United States. That's the joke I used to make. Well, guess what, guys? It's not just a joke anymore. Boom! Jeff Bezos has plans to extract the moon's water. It's happening. He is a real-life James Bond villain. He really is. Like, all the shit he does, it is a plot from, like, a comic book series that a villain would do. Like that whole thing where he was looking for a new headquarters. Meanwhile, the whole time he knew it was going to be in New York and Washington, D.C., but he told all these cities that he was looking for a new location. So what did the cities do? They all put in these crazy bids, giving Amazon all these tax breaks, giving Amazon all these incentives to go there, giving Amazon all these plans that they had for years. So how did it end? Well, how it ended was Jeff Bezos had about $1 billion worth in city data that was his for free, that he can do whatever he wants with, and the whole time, none of those cities were actually being considered. They knew exactly where they were going to go the whole freaking time. It was a scam. It was a game. And pretty much every major city in the fucking country fell for it. That's something a comic book villain would do. Like, that's seriously the plot to a comic book. Kind of a boring villain plot, to be honest. I'm going to get a bunch of city data by saying I'm going to build a plant and then not actually build it. How would the superhero stop the villain in that scenario? Like, go there, like, you got to build in all these cities now, fuckface, because you lied. I don't know which superhero would be good at stopping that. Why didn't Superman just distribute food all around the world every day? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't he just... Why wasn't that just his gig? Like, he should have just... Instead, he was a reporter in, like, a small town. Like, that was like... He's like, I'm Superman. I can't think of a better way to spend my days than having this double identity and being a reporter at a struggling daily newspaper. Why didn't he go around the world? He could have just flown around the world distributing food. Like, giving water to people in need. Like, he could have just done that. Like, And it would have taken him, what, like 2-3 hours a day? And he could have been compensated very handsomely for it. I mean, honestly, if he's like, hey, I'm Superman, I can provide this service. I think that, the United States would have thrown some money his way. The UN would have thrown some money his way. I think pretty much all the countries of the world would have compensated him. Superman would have been, very, very well to do, as you should be. If you solve global poverty, you deserve to make a good living. I think that's fair. Does anyone think that's not fair? I think that's fair. So Superman totally could have done that, made a much better salary than being a reporter. I mean, what the hell, Clark? Like, what were you, Joe? Make this a separate clip, because we've gone off on a tangent now. Why didn't he do that? Like, now I don't like Superman. I mean, I was indifferent anyway, but now I'm just like, what the fuck, Superman? Why didn't you just do that? Anyway, all right, so Superman screwed that up. So anyway, Jeff Bezos is now getting into water. Like we said, he's into food. He runs the media. He runs online commerce. Or at least he has a huge lion's share in online commerce, more than any one entity should have. What's next? If he gets into water, the only thing next, he's going to have his own currency, Bezos bucks. Well, let's see what he's doing now. Because he wants to extract the moon's water. The Amazon CEO unveiled a sleek-looking lunar lander. Say that 5 times fast. A sleek-looking lunar lander. By the way, I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. That's how Get Your News On with Ron works. Sleek-looking lunar lander. And he hopes the White House takes notice. Between the shipping and handling, the web servers, the groceries, and the newspapers, Jeff Bezos has never stopped thinking about the moon. He was 5 years old when Americans first walked on the lunar surface, and he remembers the grainy black and white footage from that historic moment. He's just like a regular guy. He's just a regular guy. He remembers where he was when if you work hard, you can be just like Jeff Bezos. If you work real hard and are willing to screw over everybody in the meantime, you can be just like... They make it out like these are just normal people who just had... Like, to make it to a Jeff Bezos level, you have to be corrupt beyond comprehension. As he is. Like, that's just... But they make it, you just work hard. You can do this too. You too can make the decision to have an ambulance outside of your warehouse instead of providing proper air conditioning for your employees because it saves money. You too cannot pay living wages while being the richest person the face of the world has ever seen. You too can get an F rating from every environmental agency, yet still, pillage other neighborhoods and communities. You too can... All right, so let's see what he's doing here. In addition to leading Amazon, knowing the Washington Post, runs a space flight company called Blue Origin. Blue Origin has been working on something for the past 3 years, and on Thursday, Bezos unveiled it. A giant spacecraft designed to touch down gently on the lunar surface, plus a small rover with droopy camera eyes, like WALL-E. It's an incredible vehicle, Bezos said. All right. So... So what all do they want to do with this thing? So listen to this. Bezos offered an argument made famous by Goldilocks. Other planets, he said, are too small. They're too far. They don't have enough gravity. Instead, human beings should build habitats in orbit around Earth, perpetually rotating to produce artificial gravity, a concept popularized in the 1970s by the American physicist Gerard O'Neill. These manufactured worlds, Bezos said, could each house 1 million people or more. Some habitats would be cities, others national parks. Some might even recreate famous places on Earth. All, according to the animations Bezos shared, would be idyllic with perfect weather all year round. People are going to want to live here, he said. And what happens to Earth in this interstellar-esque future? The planet would be zoned for residential and light industrial use. The heavy pollution-causing stuff would exist in one of those off-world habitats. Bezos doesn't plan to take care of this himself, though. Who is going to do this work? Not me, Bezos said. He pointed to a group of middle school age children. Middle school age children. Middle-aged school children. Good job, Ron. All right. Okay. Middle school-age children near the front of the stage, all dressed in blue origin t-shirts. You guys are going to do this, and your children are going to do this. No pressure. Robotic missions to the moon have found evidence in the past decade that water exists on the moon in the form of ice. Pence, along with NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine, have insisted that exploiting that precious resource would make long-term outposts on the moon possible. It's far easier than bringing along giant water coolers from Earth. Future lunar explorers, they say, could feed the water ice into life support systems or split it into hydrogen and oxygen and turn it into rocket fuel. Ultimately, we're going to be able to get hydrogen from that water on the moon and be able to refuel these vehicles on the surface of the moon, Bezos said. So, we're entertaining the idea of building new Earth-like civilizations constructed around the orbit, but we're not talking about doing something about the planet we have. We're not talking about doing something regarding... Why isn't Jeff Bezos getting in on a Green New Deal? Why isn't he doing something about the Earth we're currently on? We have 12 years to act on climate change. To slow things down, to manage things, to adapt, to seek different solutions. And his solution is, we're going to build these intergalactic, these spheres around the Earth. Most people, if a family member dies, they don't have the money to go to the funeral if that family member lives in a different part of the country than they do. But somehow, a bunch of people are going to be able to go to these new artificially created planets. They're just going to be able to move there. They're going to be able to move to these artificially created utopias where I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Where I'm sure there's not going to be some type of emergency that we hadn't planned for that's going to bring down that faux civilization anyway. Hey, we're basically a walking virus, and we're behaving very catastrophically to the environment, and the Earth might shake us off like a bad fly, as George Carlin likes to say. What should we do about that? Let's build new societies up in space. See how that works out. Some of them we'll just reserve for pollution. Eventually, we'll pollute all of them, too. Jeff Bezos. Wow. That guy. That's something. And it's like we're talking about all this technology, and it's like we can't come up with some serious solutions for climate change. We can't come up with solutions on how to reduce our emissions, on how to break off our dependency on fossil fuels, on how to rebuild our infrastructure, on how to invest in solar and green new jobs and sustainable green jobs. We can't do any of that. We can talk about building these new artificially constructed planets for people to live on. We can talk about building a water station on the moon. All that is within our grasp, but coming up with a worldwide participatory policy that reinvents the wheel on how we get our energy and how we utilize our energy and doing it in a sustainable way, we can't do that. We can't build a rail line from San Francisco to San Diego. We can't have an extensive high-speed rail in the United States. We can't have a jobs guarantee. We can't pay living wages to our employees, Jeff Bezos. You can't properly ventilate a warehouse for your workers. You can't put your drivers on routes that are manageable for a human being. You can't go into a community without getting an F rating by environmental agencies and polluting that community. You can't do any of that. But you can create these utopian new planets for people to live on. And people are just going to be able to go there, right? They can't afford to go to their family member's funeral if their family member lives in a different city than they do. But they're going to be able to live on these utopian planets. Okay, Jeff Bezos. All right. So that's great. We're having more and more problems at home. Jeff Bezos is actually part of that problem. And meanwhile, with all the money and resources he has, he's playing Space Cadet. Cool. Cool. And since we're on the topic of climate change, again, it's like he's like a Superman in a way. You know what I mean? Like it's like you have all these resources. Why don't you do something like, no, I think we're going to fantasize about building new planets. That's what I think. I think we're going to talk about building new planets. So, hey, why don't we talk about how we can become less of a virus? No, let's build more places for us to be a virus on. The problem isn't us being a virus. The problem is we need more places to be a virus. You have all this money and all these resources. Why don't you do... I think Jeff Bezos is the Clark Kent in this scenario. Jeff Bezos is the guy who, instead of doing something really positive with the resources he has, he's like, well, I'd rather just be a mild-mannered reporter. And actually, he's worse than Clark Kent because he's doing really terrible shit. Clark Kent was a fine reporter. He did a good job reporting stuff. Joe, I changed my mind. Don't break this up into 2 clips. Keep it all one. Well, so there you go. We tied in water on the moon to climate change, to the planet, to Jeff Bezos being a predator, to Superman and Clark Kent. Get your news on with Ron. But speaking of climate change, here's some lame news. This brings us to Chicago. Fireflies and monarch butterflies are dying off in Chicago due to climate change, experts say. One of the joys of a Midwest summer is catching fireflies. Come on. I remember when I was a little kid, and I didn't grow up in Chicago. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but still a Midwestern city. The summer nights, there'd be the fireflies. I remember one time I caught a firefly for the neighbor girl. I caught the firefly, and I gave it to her, and she's like, no boys allowed. And I was like, oh, shit, all right, this plan failed. I got over it, whatever. But that was one of my favorite things, was catching fireflies. And you release them, of course. I know some people, some people would take the light, which that's not nice to do. I never did that, but they would take the light out and then put it on their face, like the light from the firefly. They would take that off, and the kids, they don't know any better. But I kind of feel like I kind of felt like dissecting the fly was unnecessary. I didn't find the need to kill the fly for no reason, so I would just capture it, and then I'd let it someday it'll kind of go on your finger for a little bit, be like, yeah, I get it, I'm cool, I light up, and then they'd fly away. Right, Lucy? Lucy saw fireflies once, a couple times, because she experienced a few Midwestern summers, and she chased a firefly once. I used to walk her. You can walk a cat. I used to walk Lucy. She used to like it. In fact, I want to try again. I want to see if she'll get into it again. One of my neighbors walks their cat. So I want to see. The last couple times I tried, and it's been a while, but the last couple times I tried, Lucy wasn't into it. And she knows I'm talking about her. She's turning her face. Maybe she'll get more on the camera before the episode's over. Anyway, getting back to fireflies not being in Chicago anymore. 1 million plant and animal species could go extinct in the coming years. And in Chicago, those losses will include fireflies and monarch butterflies. The scathing report details how threats, including climate change, how humans use land, pollution, and the spread of invasive species, are causing species to go extinct already, with many more expecting to die out in coming decades. That loss of biodiversity will have huge impact around the world, placing stress on the food supply, economies, and more. Chicago and the surrounding area has already seen significant declines in its insect and bat population. The orange and black butterflies that flutter around gardens and flowers in the spring and summer, and fireflies, a staple of many Chicagoans' childhoods, are expected to be among the insects that will be lost. And these insects do more than just look cool. We know this. They participate in our ecosystem. They are a part of it. Losing them is a very bad thing. for reasons much more severe than, oh, I can't catch fireflies in the summer. Don't get me wrong, that's a big deal. I freaking love catching fireflies. I don't get to do it in California. I want people in Chicago to be able to do it. What I'm saying is the impacts are more severe than, oh, these cool-looking creatures aren't around. It's way more severe than that. I love bats, too. Why is it all the coolest-looking creatures? I freaking love bats. Bats, I really dig. Lucy, do you like bats? She's on board. It's so weird she's, like, just chilling right here. Well, I mean, it's not. She's doing that whole, you're not going to leave again ever, are you? You're staying. You're not going to, if I stay right here, you won't go anywhere, right? Lucy, I have to go about my day. I got places I got to go today. You know this. It's okay. You'll get a treat soon. Once the episode's over. All right, anyway. She's distracting. What are you going to do? She's a cool cat. She's distracting. Say meow, Lucy. She doesn't do it on command. It's not her thing. All right, let's see what else there is to this article. But yeah, I love bats and I love fireflies. Why is it all the cool? A lot of great rock and roll music has been written about both those things. All right. Welser said the loss in the local bug population can be seen by something called the windshield assessment. 10 or 20 years ago, drivers would have to routinely use their wipers because they'd have so many bugs across their windshield. So now that's not really happening. That's not really the case anymore, and that should worry everybody. For me, the most heartbreaking thing is fireflies. I have a little girl who's 13, and I remember how magical it was for her when she was 3 and 4, and we would see fireflies at night. You just can't see that many of them anymore. That's what this Welzer person is saying. Songbird populations are falling quickly, too. So now they're talking about what this really means. Those losses will impact humans in a number of ways. Insects like butterflies and creatures like bats are pollinators, and plants need to be pollinated to produce food. Bats are also invaluable in that they eat pesky bugs like mosquitoes. Which, by the way, mosquitoes, they don't just, bite you and it's itchy and annoying. They also spread disease. So bats help keep that in check. Right, Lucy? You guys did that too. You guys kept the rats at bay, right? Cats would keep the diseased rats at bay for people. That's why they were domesticated in the first place. Then one year, one of the popes decided that you guys were evil. The cats, especially black cats like you, Lucy, you were evil. You were the devil. So he started killing all you guys. And then what happened, Lucy? The plague happened, right? That's true. The plague happened. That's right. Lucy's pissed. She hates this stuff. She's like, that's right. We faced religious persecution. We felines faced religious persecution. Meow. Meow. Wasn't right. Yeah, see? She's animated now. She wants to play. She gets it. Right? See? She's like, that wasn't right. It's a sensitive topic for her. Knowing what happened to her people so many years ago. But because they did that to the cats, people got the plague. So now that we're losing bats, this ain't good. The decline and expected extinction of those species is directly tied to humans. The biggest factor behind the loss of species is habitat destruction. In and around Chicago, that's seen by the conversion of prairie and other native grasses into farmlands. And another major driver is climate change. Pollutions and pesticides play a major role in species loss too. And of course, we can't do anything about this, right? There's nothing we can do. Let's just look into developing new habitats in the space orbit. Let's do that. That's Jeff Bezos' solution. Overexploitation and introducing invasive species has also led to the dying off of local species. So what can you do? Humans can reverse or slow down losses, though. Chicago has seen a resurgence in animals like coyotes, hawks, and small mammals like beavers, and bison are being used to restore Midwestern prairies. We can restore nature. We can bring things back. The biggest thing a Chicagoan can do is convert his or her front yard or backyard from a lawn into a spot with native plants like milkweed, which butterflies love, and to stop using pesticides and fertilizers. Native plants attract pollinators. They provide food for bees and butterflies. Those insects then can provide food for birds and other species. The more native habitat we can restore, the better. The city and cities throughout the United States can help this effort by changing zoning laws and local land use ordinances so residents are encouraged to grow native grasses and flowering plants in their yards. That's awesome. So if you live in Chicago, Lucy is urging you to do this. If you live in Chicago, get milkweed, grow some milkweed, grow other native plants that will attract pollinators. Chicago, get that milkweed going. Milkweed has got to be a band that starts in Chicago to raise awareness about this issue. Give me 5, Lucy. Yeah, she gets it. Oh, your high five was blocked by the microphone. Here, up high, up high. There you go. Yeah, look at this. High five for milkweed in Chicago. High five for it. High five for milkweed in Chicago. High five for it. Milkweed in Chicago. We got to do this. Let's keep those butterflies around. Let's keep those fireflies around. Let's keep those bats around. Woot. All right. So here's something. We're going to go to some election news here for a little bit. Frank Luntz, Sanders most likely to win Democratic nomination. Capitalism has become a dirty word for the left. Hope he's right. Lucy hopes he's right, too. In an appearance on Fox News on the show Media Buzz, pollster Frank Luntz shares his finding that the term capitalism no longer polls well with the American people. Good! And predicts that Senator Bernie Sanders is the most likely to win the Democratic nomination for president with a message of democratic socialism. Good! It is not that the principles... So here's a quote from this guy. It is not that principles are dead. In fact, the principles of economic freedom are alive and well. That has nothing to do with capitalism, though. But capitalism itself has been so demonized by the media, that's because it's failed. If you want to oppose socialism, you oppose it by talking about freedom, not capitalism. Okay, first of all, the quote-unquote free market we talk about in the United States, it's not free at all. It's just bought up by the highest bidder, and then that highest bidder who buys it up, they get to make the rules. What's free about that? Nothing. There's nothing free about the biggest player in the game buying everything up and then making the rules. Nothing free about that at all. Second of all, the idea of markets and participation in markets is not exclusive to capitalism. Not at all. You can have market-based socialism. Not at all exclusive to capitalism. And that's a way of thinking that we need to break free from this whole idea that, well, because of capitalism, Joe Blow can start a pizza shop if he wants. That's not because of capitalism. That's just because we have markets. Markets are not exclusive to capitalism. I'll say it again. Markets, not exclusive to capitalism. You can have a market where the workers own the means of production, where you have worker co-ops, where you have strong worker rights in place, where you have price ceilings and price floors and wage caps. You can have all that. You can still have markets with all those other things. It's not exclusive to capitalism. Not at all. And capitalism is set up to have a huge gap between the rich and the poor. It's set up to be completely amoral. It's set up. That's why when you see, I saw this report once where they said, oh, capitalism has had the same problems every time it's been tried. Can we find a way to morally, ethically do capitalism? The answer is no, because it's not set up to do that. That's not what it's set up for. It's set up to do the opposite of that. It is amoral. So the answer to that question is just no. Gee, it's had the same results every time it's been implemented. Eventually it gets completely out of control. That happens every single time. Yeah, because that's what it's set up to do. It's set up to do, hey, those with the most capital make the rules. Gee, what could go wrong? Everything, and everything always does. The same thing happens every single time. Yeah, because that's what it's set up to do. That's exactly what it's set up to do. No protections for the have-nots, and the haves get to make up the rules as they go along. What could possibly go wrong? Besides everything, what could possibly go wrong? You can still be a creative in a world that's not capitalistic. You can still start a business in a world that's not revolving around capitalism. There's nothing free about our quote-unquote free market. All right, let's see what else they talk about in this article. So in an online survey of 1,000 people, 52% of Hillary Clinton voters agree with the statement, "I prefer living in a socialist country to a capitalist one." What is this article from? Okay, so this is recent. All right. Somebody tweeted this at me. I thought for a second maybe it was older since they're mentioning Hillary Clinton. All right. Asked about the AOC proposal to impose a 70% tax on the top 1% of taxpayers, 79% of Clinton voters agree, and so do 46% of Trump voters. By the way, that 70% comes at a certain level. It's not 70 overall. That is misleading verbiage in this article. All right. Frank Luntz. All you have to do is read the New York Times, blah, blah, blah. Typically, 7 stories. 6 of those 7s will be hostile to a corporation. That's funny, Frank. Good story. Cool story, bro. Cool story, bro. I'm not going to sit here and say that I spend all my time in the New York Times business section, but I can pretty much guarantee that that statement is not true. Yeah, it's hostile to all these all the people that pay for the newspaper. It's hostile to all them. You know, everybody that keeps their newspaper afloat, it's hostile to all those organizations. Cool story, Frank. All right, I think we covered it. But let's hope that this projection by Frank is right. All right. So this is something that somebody sent me. Well, this is all stuff people sent me, but this is from Marcus. Hey, Luce, what's up? How you doing? You still doing good? The show's not over yet. Sorry. Not over yet. High five? Huh? No? You're like, I'm not doing it now. Fair enough. All right. Pete Buttigieg received 0% support from likely black voters in South Carolina, according to a poll. No, a big thing right now is name recognition. So that's what's kind of going on in polls right now. But let's look into this. Democratic presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg received 0% support among likely African-American primary voters in South Carolina, according to a new poll. Buttigieg, a previously little-known... Oh, wow, that jumped on me. A previously little-known Indiana mayor who otherwise is getting enough support to put him among the contenders, recently visited South Carolina, where he admitted to the crowd that he's not very well known to voters in the Palmetto State. Out here, people are just getting to know me, and trust, in part, is a function of quality time, and we are racing against time. Okay, so this guy... All right, first of all, this guy has had... What's up, Lucy? This guy has had so much press. He has been on late night. He has been getting press all over the country. And he's still playing like, oh, not many people know me yet. Nobody knows. You're getting a ton of press, Pete Buttigieg. The problem is people aren't connecting with you because you have nothing to say that's reaching them. You're just another person running for president in a clown car of over 20 contenders. So no, Pete, you're getting blamed. Bernie Sanders, by the way, in 2016, Bernie Sanders got virtually no press whatsoever and ended up filling up stadiums. Ended up winning 22 states. Had he not been cheated, likely would have won the nomination. Because he had a message that really connected with people. Pete Buttigieg, getting tons of press already. There's no... When you look at the amount of press Pete Buttigieg has gotten versus what's warranted with the type of candidate he is, it's absolutely ridiculous. But why is he getting that amount of press? Well, because he's likable. And because he's establishment friendly. That's why. The establishment's pretty cool with him. He was another try. First, Kamala was a big try. Beto was a big try. They didn't really catch. Pete Buttigieg, they're just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. And they're going to start re-throwing stuff. Kamala's going to get they're going to try to push Kamala again. You know, the primary season is still very young. So 0% is pretty, and granted, this early on, a lot of it is just name recognition, but zero. All the press this guy's gotten, and he comes out with a goose egg. Zero. That's pretty ridiculous. And he didn't know who Alfred E. Newman was, which was absolutely ridiculous. Oh, it must be a generational thing. No, Pete Buttigieg, I'm younger than you. I knew who Alfred E. Newman is. Or I know who Alfred E. Newman is. There was no past tense there. I knew who he was then. I still do now. And by the way, I would have understood if Lucy bailed. She's done. She's like, this Buttigieg, he's so boring, I'm done. She is very bored by Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg. I like to say his name like Count Chocula. All right? I enjoy that. Pete Buttigieg. I would get it if, like, maybe just Alfred E. Newman, you just throw that at him. And, like, off the top of his head, he's just like, Alfred, and then you're like, Mad Magazine. He's like, oh, yeah, that's understandable. But they gave him the clues. They fed him all the clues. In that interview, they said, Alfred E. Newman, Mad Magazine. He should have instantaneously been like, yeah. I had to Google that. Must be a generational thing. Well, Pete Buttigieg, I only support candidates who support single payer. Must be a generational thing. Actually, it isn't. Actually, it isn't. So, yeah, when you look at all the press that guy's gotten, and to come out with 0%, it's pretty sad. That's actually pretty sad. And it's because he has no ideas. He stands for absolutely... He has no policies. Nothing. I mean, even the Onion's digging in on that already. All right. So, there you go. Goose egg and Pete Buttigieg, according to that poll. All right. So, here's something concerning Elizabeth Warren, and we're going to talk about this. Here's the headline. Elizabeth Warren says no to a Fox News town hall. The decision to shun the conservative network is a break from Senator Bernie Sanders and other 2020 Democrats who have agreed to appear on Fox. Senator Elizabeth Warren will not participate in a town hall on Fox News, saying Tuesday that she turned down an invite to go on the conservative network. So here's her quote. Fox News is a hate-for-profit racket that gives a megaphone to racists and conspiracists. It's designed to turn us against each other, risking life and death consequences to provide cover for corruption that's rotting our government and hollowing out our middle class. She said Fox News tries to sell itself as a reputable news outlet by mixing its bigotry, racism, and outright lies with some legitimate journalism in order to bring in ad money. A Democratic town hall gives the Fox News sales team a way to tell potential sponsors it's safe to buy ads on Fox. No harm to their brand or reputation. Spoiler, it's not, she said. I won't ask millions of Democratic primary voters to tune into an outlet that profits from racism and hate in order to see our candidates, especially when Fox will make even more money adding our valuable audience to their ratings numbers. And, of course, as the article points out, this breaks from Bernie Sanders. So, I don't disagree that Fox News is a despicable outlet. I don't disagree with that. They're part of a disastrous fake news and information structure that we have here in the United States. And I call it fake because it's not a news and information structure at all. We don't have a news structure. Like, we just don't have one. The United States does not have one. Other countries do. The United States doesn't. It's one of the reasons why in the Press Freedom Index we are barely in the top 50. It's one of the reasons why. Big reason why. Fox News is absolutely despicable, but the reality of the situation is they are a network watched by a lot of people. A lot of people who are going to show up to vote. And Bernie Sanders went on his Fox News town hall and he crushed it with progressive populist ideas. So he found a way to unite people. Whereas Elizabeth Warren is simply refusing to go on the platform. Instead of trying to use the platform for good, she's simply refusing the platform. Now, if you want to talk about the issue of why Fox News is a terrible outlet, we can certainly have that discussion. And it goes into the toxic, non-existent media structure of the United States. of which CNN and MSNBC are both guilty as well. And I think the argument can be made, because I've made it myself, that MSNBC in some ways is doing an even bigger disservice to the American populace than Fox News is, because MSNBC parrots the agenda of big oil. They parrot the agenda of being pro-war. They were owned by General Electric up until recently. They do not allow actual progressive voices on that network, or hardly ever. And they are more of the same establishment status quo. With Fox News, at least you know what you're getting into. With Fox News, everybody knows that that's a right-wing propaganda outlet. Or at the very least, people consider it a right-wing outlet. Maybe some people think it's not propaganda, but it's at the very least a right-wing outlet. With MSNBC, people don't even know that's... There's people who think MSNBC is a progressive outlet. It's not. It's just not. It's owned by Comcast, for crying out loud. So, what's worse? The school bully who you know is the school bully, or the person who pretends they're your friend but they're actually working against you? Which is worse? I would say the latter is even worse. The person that stabs you in the back is even worse. And in this metaphor, MSNBC is the friend that stabs you in the back. The person posing as your friend who isn't your friend at all. So when I saw this headline and I saw that Elizabeth Warren refused a town hall on Fox News, the first thing I did was I was like, has Elizabeth Warren recently, and we covered this on this show, you don't hear much of this from the corporate press, I wonder why, but recently the FCC tried to even lax rules further when it came to media consolidation. They wanted to raise the caps of television stations one entity could own, which would further media consolidation in this country, which part of the reason we have the media structure, the fake media structure that we have, is because of the Telecommunications Act in 1996, which lifted all of the protections on how many stations and entities one company could own. They want to relax those protections even further. And who are those protections for? We the people. Those limitations on how many stations one entity could own assured a diverse range of viewpoints, assured that one company did not become too big or powerful in the name of media. So lifting those protections eliminated that idea of a broad and diverse media. The FCC wants to further deregulate the media even further. And I looked because I was curious, did Elizabeth Warren say anything about this? She did not. Now, she has spoken about breaking up Facebook and Google and stuff like that. She has spoken about the digital sphere, so I'll give her a thumbs up for that. That's a good thing. But when it came to media ownership and the recent policy the FCC is pursuing, the Trump FCC is pursuing, that we covered on this show, Elizabeth Warren was silent. Not seeing anything from Elizabeth Warren on that. So when you're a politician, it's your job to reach as many people as possible. So to write yourself out of one of the biggest outlets in the country is very counterproductive and backwards if you're a politician, even though all the stuff you said about that network is true. All the stuff she said about Fox News is true. So as an elected official, your job is to try to pursue policies and try to pursue endeavors to give us a better media in the United States. Your job is not to stay away from a platform that would prohibit your ability to reach people. Because Bernie Sanders used it to his advantage. It's awful that we have Fox News. That Fox News is the thing that can exist the way it can. But it's your job as an elected official to use that to your advantage. In fact, it's your job as a journalist, too, to do that. There's great journalists that go on Fox News. And they probably convert a few people. There's people that have probably heard Dennis Kucinich on Fox News that thought, you know what? Yeah, that guy's making sense. There's people that have heard Glenn Greenwald on Fox News that said, yeah, that guy's making sense. There's people that have heard Katie Halper on Fox News and thought, wow, I want to look more into her. I want to see what she's saying. And then they discover a different perspective. There's people who probably saw Kyle Kalinske on Fox News, Nomiki Konst. The list goes on and on. There's great progressives who go on Fox News. They don't thumb their nose at it because they understand that it is a big platform. Whether that's good or just or not, it isn't. But again, when it comes to our media structure, Fox News is a symptom of the bigger problem. And Elizabeth Warren hasn't really been outspoken about that bigger problem all that much. She's done a little bit, and I'll give her credit there. But I disagree 100% with her decision to not do a Fox News town hall. And I think Bernie Sanders did it the right way. Elizabeth Warren's doing it the wrong way. So let me see what you guys are saying, and that's how I won the show. Do you guys agree? Do you guys think she's made? Does anyone think she's doing the right thing by not doing it Fox News Town Hall? Let's see what you guys are saying, and that's how I won the show today. Tim, Ron, so awesome seeing you all this weekend. We had a blast, and I wanted to thank you all again. Thank you, Tim. That's very kind. It was amazing to meet you in person as well, and I'm glad you had a good time. Chip says Liz has a lot of bark but no bite. Well, based on this decision, I think that's a fair. Assessment. Definitely Human also points out that Fox has also given Tulsi some time. Let's see. Balthazar, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Kamen Rider was also the original superhero in Japan. It paved the way for the Power Rangers and other Japanese superhero shows. Cool. That's awesome. I never knew that. Balthazar, also, thank you again for the super chat contribution. He literally looks like Lex Luthor from the Superman comics. I think you're referring to Jeff Bezos here. If you're going to be a billionaire with ambition, you don't want to look like Lex. Great White Shark says that Israel also sent 32 million books to the moon in a disc. Okay. Interesting. Thank you for that, Great White Shark. Sean Brock, Nick Brana is right. The Justice Dems have already been co-opted. AOC is the new Elizabeth Warren. Well, I hope that's not the case, Sean. I guess we'll find out. Celeste, how old is Lucy? Lucy is 13. Lucy is 13 years old. Let's see. Schultze, Warren has her moments, but she's way too wishy-washy for me. Not enough backbone, not enough vision either. The Jones says, just because the first lefty to go on Fox got treated fairly doesn't mean they will do the same for Warren. I get why she said no. I don't know if Bernie was treated fairly or not. I just know that Bernie used his talking time to maximize it. And I think that, I know that they definitely had some audience members there that were being planted to, not be pro-Bernie, but Bernie worked it to his advantage anyway. And he won people over with ideas that they were connecting with. So I think if you only want elected officials who will be going on somewhere where they'll be quote-unquote treated fairly, that's a very low bar for an elected official, I would say. I want an elected official who can handle themselves in any media platform that they're put into. So I think, you might not treat me fair, so I'm just going to stay home. That's certainly nothing I'm inspired by. So whether she'll be treated fairly or not, I think is a complete non-issue. That's my take on it. And Balthazar, thank you for another Super Chat contribution. I will say Warren has better vision than Schumer. That guy still doesn't understand how glasses work. I like Warren better than a lot of the other establishment, well, pretty much all the other establishment candidates, but that's not saying anything. That's a very, very small, thing I would give to her. I like her better than, I think she's better than Harris. I think she's better than Booker. I think she's better than Chuck Schumer. I think she's better than Pete Buttigieg. But, what's that saying? Very little. All right. Some of you guys are reminding that she did endorse Hillary. Yes, she did. Jinxana makes an analogy. I see this as a huge mistake, like when Hillary just avoided the Rust Belt. It's going to come back to bite her. I agree with that, too. I think that, especially when you see somebody like a Bernie Sanders who can go on there and win some people over, to just thumb your nose at the outlet itself. And again, even though the things she said about Fox News, I thought were right on. I agree with all that. But as a politician, it's your job to reach people, and whether it's good or not, well, it's not good, but the reality of the situation that we all have to navigate is that a lot of people watch Fox News. It's still, a large network with a big reach. An overstated reach, but still a big reach. Overstated, yes, but still big, yes. I mean, keep in mind, cable news, people are fleeing cable news in droves. So, those numbers are declining, but they're still big. It's still a big, big game in town. So yeah. Let's see. Some of you guys are pointing out that Warren does have some ideas. She does. I mean, there's some things she's did that I like, and when she did, we covered it on this show. Her drug bill that she worked on with Bernie was a good bill. She had a couple other bills out there that were there was the one there was a banking bill she had recently. We talked about that. Yeah. She's had a few good bills out there, and you just hope that. But she's also backpedaled on a few things, so you hope that if she's ever in a position to really push something through, you kind of wonder if she'll actually, if she'll walk the walk, so to speak. So, Zero Divisor brings up the final Game of Thrones seasons. Oh boy, that's a different conversation for a different day. We don't have time to unpack that now. But I will say overall, I've still been enjoying it though. Game of Thrones. We'll do a Game of Thrones segment on a different day. We don't have enough time to get into that now. But yeah. But anyway, so we're pretty much out of time. Don't worry, Celeste. No spoilers. No spoilers here. Overall, I have been enjoying the new season, but I get some of those critiques. I really do. Anyway, guys, we are totally out of time. East Coast, get your tickets now. Well, first of all, let me start local. May 23rd, the first Ron Placone and Friends is happening at Flappers Comedy Club. All LA people, if you're in the Los Angeles area on May 23rd, Ron Placone and Friends happening at Flappers Comedy Club. Who's on the first show, you ask? Jimmy Dore, Graham Elwood, Steph Semirano, the Dollops Gareth Reynolds, Tracy Walker, Courtney Cronin. It's a really, really fun lineup. I'm super proud of it. I can't wait for you guys to see that show. Email me today. Go to ronplacone.com. Email me today. I'll put you on the guest list for that show. Say you saw it here on the stream first. I will put you on the guest list for that show. That's May 23rd. East Coast! Graham Elwood and I are coming. Get your tickets now. In June 12th, Washington, D.C. June 13th, Baltimore, Maryland. June 14th and 15th, 2 nights in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. June 16th, New Haven, Connecticut. June 17th, New York City, baby. And June 19th, Boston, Massachusetts. Don't wait. Get your tickets now. Want to support this show on the sustainability end? Patreon.com/Ron Placone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content or Ron-tent. Grandma would said that in the car yesterday, and I got a big kick out of it. So goofy. But anyway, give what you can level. You get all kinds of exclusive stuff. I got to get new equipment. I want to get better lighting. I want to get better camera. I want to get better audio. I want to do more streams. I want to do more interviews. And if you can help support this show, that will certainly help me get to all those goals. But Please like and share these videos. Please let the ads play on autoplay. Just let it play. And don't do that for me. Do that for all the content creators you love. Not just for me. Do it for everybody. It helps sustain our channels. I almost said children. What the hell is that? Wow. All right. I got to all the super chats. Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Thank you very much for all your contributions. Thank you very much for all the articles. Much appreciated. We got a lot more to cover, but we can only get to so much in a day. Yeah. Lucy, where the hell did she go? Oh, she went over to the couch, and she is 13. You guys are awesome. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, right here on the YouTube and the Twitter and the Facebooks. Thank you for being the best executive producers in the business. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. Consider the news gotten. That doesn't even make sense. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, remember, Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.